Today I'm going to talk to you about 7 tips on how and when to become exclusive. Hi, I'm Jaki Sabrin, a heart-centered love and dating coach and CEO of Engaged at Any Age, a company that teaches women how to deliberately date and consciously create the man of their dreams. I married my own soulmate match husband, Michael, after being single for 8 years, and I'm still on the honeymoon and passionate about helping you get engaged at any age. And today, I'm going to talk to you about 7 tips on how and when to become exclusive. So I know this is a really hot topic because we're always wondering as women, what point should we have the talk, right? What's happening in our relationship? We've been together for 3 weeks, 6 weeks, a month, 6 months. When am I going to hear the word, do you want to be exclusive? Do you want to be my girlfriend? And so it's a really confusing place to be for women. And I know it stresses you out when you don't have a strategy or a formula to get that ball rolling. So I'm going to give you these 7 tips on how and when to be exclusive. And so the first tip is you want to look at whether or not you're being genuine and authentic in your relationship. So genuine and authentic, let's talk about that really quick. So basically you're both showing up and you're being real. You're not playing any games. You're communicating with each other. You're getting back to each other. You're sharing things about your history with each other. And you're basically having a real authentic connection. And you can tell that by just the way that the man's showing up. He's not keeping things from you. He's very forthright with you. And I'm very comfortable and relaxed with you. And you're feeling comfortable and relaxed with him. And you're feeling that it's safe to share with him how you feel about things that are coming up and in that moment. So you're not walking around on eggshells. That's how you can tell you're being authentic and genuine in the relationship. Okay, so tip number 2. Do you have chemistry? That's a big one. Are you, after a certain amount of time, maybe you don't feel it at first, but after dating for a couple of weeks, you're starting to feel chemistry, starting to care about him, looking forward to seeing him. You're starting to get that little, tingle that you're like, wow, I love the way he kisses me. I love when he puts his hands on me. I want to put my hands on him, that kind of thing. And you really get excited about the deep discussions you're having, and you're excited about what he's sharing with you. So that's, besides physical chemistry, you have this other chemistry that happens. You just start to fit together, and it feels good to be in his presence, and he feels good in your presence. So that's chemistry, right? You just feel good together. And so the next tip that I want to share with you, and before I do, I want you to make sure you comment, like, and share my Engaged at Any Age channel with your friends if you like what I'm sharing, so that I will be inspired to create more trainings for you. Okay, thank you for doing that. And also stay to the very end because I have a freebie and a big announcement I want to share with you. Okay, so the next tip is, can you trust each other? This is an important one. You really need to feel like you can trust each other, right? Relationships are founded on trust and honesty. So if you can't trust each other, by definition, you don't really have a relationship. So trust is gained in inches and lost in miles. Trust is gained in inches and lost in miles. What I mean is that trust is built over time. It takes time to build trust, and over time you can see if that person is trustworthy. So trustworthiness comes from keeping your word. So keeping your word to each other. You're keeping your word. You're consistently keeping your word to him. And if you can't keep your word, you're explaining on why you can't. So renegotiating things. So that's all about trust. Just making sure that you're showing up in your integrity, keeping your word, you're being forthright about what it is you're feeling. And if you say you're going to do something, you're doing it. And he's doing the same thing. He's not disappearing on you for the weekend. And he's not creating some kind of insecure feeling in you where you're questioning what he's doing. You need to really pay attention to your intuition on this one, because if you're questioning some things, then there's some red flags there. And you need to look at those red flags because they give you information about what's going on and whether or not you even want to be exclusive with this man. So make sure you're looking at those red flags. Do not ignore those. So trust is a big part of a relationship. If you don't have trust, you don't really have a relationship, because you need to have each other's back, right? All right, so the next tip is, Can you communicate? Can you communicate? Communication is amazing. I love teaching about communication, and I'm a really good communicator, but it's a skill set that I learned. So I wasn't always a great communicator. In fact, I used to yell when I wanted to communicate something. So I've really grown a lot, and you can too. So communication is where you aren't afraid to ask questions and you expect to get answers. So when you ask a question for the level of intimacy that you're sharing with this man, you expect an answer. If you're not getting an answer, then maybe it's the way you're saying it. So good communication skills really starts with continuing to practice using I language, me language. That's called first party communication. So you're saying I feel, or I thought, or me, I. So that you're not pointing the finger at him, you're saying I. I felt that the tone you used with me was a little harsh. You're not saying the tone you used with me is a little harsh. That's more like you're attacking. But if you stay in I, first party communication, I language, then you're taking responsibility for your feelings because they're that. So when you're communicating with your man, another great tip I'll give you is to soften your voice, slow your roll, and listen more than you talk. I mean, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so use those accordingly. Talk less and listen more to your man. He will talk more if you are more quiet. So I'm not saying be passive, but there's something interesting that happens with the man. If you give him an opportunity to share, he will. And if you're always doing all the talking, you're going to miss out on the things that he's sharing with you. And so be a good communicator. Listen, and don't just wait for your turn to talk. Actually listen to what he's saying and then give him a response based on what you picked up. And sometimes what helps with that is to duplicate. So what duplication means to repeat back what they said. So you can just make it sound like this. So let me make sure I got this right, honey. You're saying that you're running late tonight. You may or may not make it for dinner, but you'll let me know. Then he's going to say, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're like, great. I just want to make sure we didn't miscommunicate. So do you see I repeated that back? So he told me something, I repeated it back. So make sure you have great communication. All right. The next tip is set your own time frame for this talk, the talk that you're going to have. I encourage you women to wait for the man to initiate it, but sometimes they don't. And so I'm going to make a broad statement that it's okay that you initiate the discussion if you do it in the right way. And I know that in a lot of my trainings, I really stress the man needs to initiate it, but there are times when it's appropriate for you to initiate it. And I don't want you to shy away from doing that. But set your own time frame. I can't tell you when that is because you might need more time to know if you want to be exclusive with this man. You might be living out of state and you can't really connect with him physically as frequently as you'd like. That means going on dates, holding hands, and talking. So you're just Skyping. So I can't tell you what the time frame is, but if you guys live close enough together to see each other a couple times a week, 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, after dating for 3 weeks, you want to, look for that exclusive conversation. And here's why. Because you're going to be probably wanting to get intimate, sexually intimate. And you definitely want to have the conversation before you get sexually intimate. So if a man is interested in getting close with you, then that is a perfect opportunity for you, because he opens a door for you to say something like, and then the next tip I'm going to give you is practice what you're going to say before you say it so it comes off the right way, okay? So that you don't scare him off. And the men do get scared off by this conversation, but I don't want you to be afraid to have it, because I don't want you to walk on eggshells, because you're going back to one of my first tips is that's not a real relationship when you're walking on eggshells. So I want you to set your own time frame based on your proximity, on how often you see each other, and what your intention is. If your intention is to get into a committed relationship this year that leads to a long-term commitment or marriage, then you want to make that very clear from the very beginning when you start dating. And then you want to watch his actions that demonstrate that he's interested in that as well, because you've had that conversation when you first meet. So it's not a big surprise to him, because he's looking for the same thing. You want to set the relationship up for success from the very moment you talk to him on the phone, that's what you're looking for. So you don't know if it's with him, but if you set it up that way, it's easier to have this conversation. So set your own time frame. But definitely by the third week of dating and you guys are getting hot and heavy and wanting to get physically intimate, then that's a perfect opportunity for you to practice what you say. Now I'm going to go to the last, the next tip. I have one more tip after this. And so this is to be prepared for what you say, this tip. And so when you're getting really close and you're making out, maybe you've got your hand on his chest, and I've demonstrated this before. Maybe your hand's behind his head and you're looking up at him, and he's getting all, like, you guys are getting all close and things are getting heated up. What you can say is, "Oh, I really love where this is going." So you're looking in his eyes. "I really love where this is going, and I'm really feeling it, and I would love nothing more than for us to be together and to make love, especially if things are really heated up. But before I do that, it's really important that we have a talk about what we both want out of the relationship, because I don't want to hurt you." So you put it like that, and I don't want to get hurt either. So I want us to be really transparent in where we're going, and then I will be comfortable with moving into a physical intimacy with you. How does that sound? And then he's going to he's going to have his response, and you need to know what that response is. So that's one way that you can say it, especially in the heat of the moment. Slow him down, tell him that you need to get clarity on where the relationship's going. And you can ask him, like, "What's your vision for us, baby?" I love that. "What's your vision for us? Where do you see this going?" You just smile and ask him that and see what he says. You're really waiting to see how he's going to respond to that. Or you can say something like, "I'm going to see my mom tonight, and she's, what should I tell her about us? Like, what are we? What kind of us are we? Are we an us?" So you can make it light and playful and say it like that. Like, "I'm going to see my friends tonight, and they're asking me about you. And so what is our status? Are we like a thing?" And so you can make it lighthearted and playful, like, "Are we a thing? Are we like a couple? Or what are we, honey?" And be like that. And then he'll be like, "Yeah, you're my woman." And you're like, "Ooh, I like the way that sounds. I'm your woman. So does that make you my boyfriend?" So keep pushing until you get a direct answer from him. But do it light and playful like I just did. And now if he avoids it, and if he says something like, "Tell him whatever you want," and say, "Well, I'd like to hear it from you." Smiling. So you're always smiling. So you're not letting him off the hook that easy. You're like, "Well, I could tell him whatever I want, but I want to know how you feel about it. So how do you feel about it?" Because again, starting from the beginning of this training, all these things, if you're being genuine and authentic and you're trusting each other and you are communicating, you're leading up to the point where you can say this with grace and ease. All right. Final and last tip, make sure you stay for the end so you get my freebie and my special announcement. Okay, I want you to be prepared for him to ghost you. I know that's not what you want to hear, but that is a possibility. And it doesn't mean that I want you to shy away from having this conversation or not ask him questions about a future, because you need to find out this information. I know it hurts to be ghosted. I've been ghosted before. It is the most confusing, painful thing that can happen, especially if you've been intimate with someone. That's why I really recommend that you don't sleep with a man until he suggests that you're exclusive or you have a discussion about it because he wants to have sex with you. So either way, it can be forced to be brought up, especially if it leads to, that sexual piece. So be prepared for him to ghost you, because here's why. A lot of times men don't want to hurt your feelings. If you bring the conversation up and they start to distance themselves, it's because they don't want a committed, serious relationship with you. And that's their way of telling you. And I know it's really lame, and you would hope the guy would have more in integrity, right? That he would tell you. But, reverse the situation. It's really hard to tell somebody that you're not into them, especially after you've been seeing him for 3 weeks. It's painful. And men are trained from the very beginning not to hurt us, not to hurt our feelings. They have sisters and mothers that have been telling that their whole life. And so it's normal that they would do that. No, did I say functional? No, I didn't say it was functional. I just said it's normal behavior in some cases for men to ghost. It means they're just not interested in having a long-term committed relationship with you. And here's the best part about this is it's painful. You will overcome it, but you put yourself first, and now you have a lot more information you had about this man than you did 3 weeks ago. And so I really encourage you to have this conversation sooner than later, especially if you're experiencing all the tips that I gave you. Go ahead and just throw it out there, because if you don't, you're just going to be getting stressed out and frustrated about where the relationship's going. And they pick up on that. They pick up on that you're not happy, and they're there to make you happy. And when you're not being honest about how you feel, they can't read your mind. So don't be afraid. Be more courageous and have that discussion with them. And remember, you are worthy of love, and you deserve to get what you want. You should expect to get what you want, because we all are entitled to getting what we want. It's our birthright. Okay, here's my freebie. So I want you to go to soulmateiq.com and take my soulmate assessment. It's a really quick free quiz. It'll give you the frequency that you're vibrating at and how close you are to manifesting your soulmate. I'm going to provide you with your frequency where you're vibrating at, and provide you with a feminine exercise that you can start to practice so you can get further into alignment, so you can fast track your ability to manifest your soulmate. Okay, please take advantage of that by going to soulmateiq.com. And my big announcement is that I'm open the doors for enrollment into my Engaged at Any Age signature program. I only offer this program once a year. This is your opportunity to work with me. If you're resonating with the trainings that I'm creating for you, then I want you to go and look at the comment box where I placed the link about the program and all the details, where you have an opportunity to apply for the program and get on a call with me to see if it's a fit for you. In this program, we take a much deeper dive on deliberate dating, how to heal your emotional blocks, how to become more feminine and be in your feminine energy, because that's what a man's looking for. How to have these conversations with men. It's a very action-oriented program. I'm all about fast tracking, and I'm all about taking action. So you've already built up enough intellectual knowledge. The key is the application of it. And I have a strategy and a formula, proven formula, women that are getting engaged within 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and getting married within a year. And I want to help you do that, because I know it's possible, because it's what I did. So I hope you'll take advantage of at least looking at that page. It's in the comment box, and take advantage of my Soulmate IQ. And I just want to thank you for being here, and I'm just sending you so much love. Bye-bye.